So I wanted to make a video, kind of like a tutorial for a King Krule song. I think the song is technically When Vanishing, but it doesn't really sound a lot like the studio version for the song, because the studio version isn't really guitar, it's kind of like an orchestra sort of thing going on. But if anybody I don't know if some people know, but like he went on a tour like close to right before the album came out, called like the SHHH tour. And it was just him and Galgo, his saxophonist, and George, his drummer. And he played the song like on guitar. And I just remember I learned it a while back, like when I saw a video of it on YouTube from one of the shows, and I couldn't find any tabs or literally anything of people playing it or tutorials or anything. So and I don't know if there is now, but I assume not, because it's kind of a niche video, so probably no one cares, but I think it's a sick song, so I wanted to make a video. So I'll play it first. I don't play it exactly, I don't remember exactly how he plays it, but like the chords are pretty close, I think. I don't know, I learned it from ear, so bear with me, but it's something like... So yeah, it's something like that. He sort of plays that same chord progression in the beginning like 2 or 3 times, and there's some drums that kind of make it sound more cohesive, but that's basically it. And then so there's like the intro part, or not intro, but like that one chord progression, and then he switches to a different chord progression where he's kind of going like, and then he goes like up to that, and then he does that these like other little chords that are like, but they're all kind of just chords from the beginning, whatever. So I'm shit with chord names and stuff, so I'm just gonna kind of like show you my fingers, because that might be easier. So, and I'm not really gonna fucking talk about like the picking, but I think he uses his fingers and not a pick, but it's kind of like some Bossa Nova type stuff. So whatever. So this is the first chord. I'm kind of like barring the first fret of the D and G string, and then I have second fret of the A string, and second fret of the B string. And then he moves up to this, which is like a common chord shape, where middle finger on the third fret of the A string, pointer finger, second fret of the D string, and then ring finger and pinky on the third fret of the G and B strings. And then you move this shape up to like this one, where it's like the same thing, but your pointer finger is staying on the second fret. So it goes that. And then you're keeping all your fingers on the same strings basically, but you're moving up to this shape where you have middle finger on the 6th fret of the A string, pointer finger, 5th fret of the D string, ring finger, 6th fret of the G string, and then pinky finger, 7th fret of the B string. And then you go to this where you take your pinky off and you bar with your pointer finger on that. So it goes. So that's the intro part, kind of where it goes. And then on the E string, you go from 6 to 4. You kind of like slide down, you go. And I use my thumb because just that's what I fucking do. And then I bar the bottom 4 strings on the 4th fret and have my pinky on the 6th fret of the high E string. So I'm kind of doing like the little, like the roll thing with your fingers. I don't fucking know how to teach you how to do that, but that's just what you do. I feel like I sound like an asshole. Okay. And then this chord is weird. I don't really know what it is. If it's sort of just like an E minor, but you add that, or if it's like whatever the fuck this chord is, where you have your middle finger or fucking any finger on the 2nd fret of the D string instead, but you just have to have this. So it's like that, or it's like that. I don't know. It's one of those two. So from the beginning we have. So then you go back up to the chord we were just at from this one. And you can kind of go boom, boom. This chord we already played. And then back to this chord we already played. And then that thing that we did before where you switch the bar, you take your pinky off. And then you go to this chord, which is like a major 7th chord. So it's like pointer finger, 4th fret of a E string, middle finger, 4th fret of the B string, and then ring and pinky on the 5th fret of the D and G strings. So you have that, and then you have this chord, which we already played. Remember when we went? So it's that 3rd chord from the beginning, so we're back there. So you go. And then I use my pointer finger because we're going to be barring, and I go. So on the low E string, you go from 4 to 2, and you play this chord, which I also don't know the name of, but I'm barring the whole 2nd fret, and I have my ring finger on the 4th fret of the A string, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the G string, and my pinky finger on the 4th fret of the B string. And then you switch you move both your pointer and your ring finger down a string. You don't really have to bar anymore, and you just play that, like, you know, common major 7th chord type thing. So you're going from. And then you got kind of a weird chord where you go. So you go from the 2nd to the 1st. So you go. So this chord is, you have, you know, your pointer on the 1st fret of the E string. Skip the A string. I just kind of have it muted from my pointer finger. And then you want your middle finger and your ring finger on the 1st fret as well of the D and G strings, and then your pinky on the 2nd fret of the B string. So sort of like this, like common chord, but you're like moving your pinky up for some reason. So it goes. And then you play the top string again. So you're going from, you go 2nd, 1st, 0. And when you play that, you go back up to this chord again. This chord comes up a lot. And then instead of doing the remove the pinky and bar thing, you do that, but you also move your middle finger up to the 6th fret of the E string. So it's like. So that's what you have. And that's basically it for that chord, that like main chord progression. So the first time he plays it, he kind of plays it like, you can kind of like improvise a little with the rhythm and like, and the timing and stuff. And so he, in like the live recording of it, he kind of plays that, and then the drummer kind of like, you know, counts him off, and then he plays it again, or he plays it like a couple more times, like that whole chord progression with like a beat behind it. And so when he's playing it like those 2 more times or 3 more times, however many times he plays it, there's more, it's more like structured, if that makes sense. Like he's playing it like. So I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's more rhythm to it. And when I'm playing it that way, I'm not really strumming at all. I'm just doing like normal finger style where my thumb is playing the bass note, and then I pluck the 3, you know, middle strings or bottom 3 strings or whatever, depending on the chord. So that's pretty much it for like the main thing. So whatever, he plays the whole chord progression however many times it is, like 3 times I think. And then on the last time he does it, you know, you get to this chord, and then you go to this chord, which is like it's the same chord that we played earlier, this chord, but you just don't play the high E string. And then back to this chord, the E minor looking thing, and then back up to this chord, which is, I just play like is this a triad? I don't know what a triad is, but just like these 3 strings, and it's the same. Remember we went from that to this. I'm just playing, and then back to this, and then back to this. Plays that a bunch of times, and then on the last one he goes back up to this, and then he plays this, which is, we played this chord earlier just down here, but now we're up here. And then he does a few new chords, which if you've ever played If Only It Was Warmth, it's very similar to that chord. It's instead of, or I'm not even gonna explain that, but it's this chord. So middle finger on the 11th fret of the E string, pointer finger on the, what is that, the 10th fret of the D string. You're skipping the A string, again, getting kind of muted by your middle finger. And then your ring finger can go on the 11th fret of the G string, and then pinky finger on the 11th fret of the B string. And then to this. Or like this, however you want to play it, where it's just this 9th fret of the E, skip the A, gets muted again. So you just the E, D, G, and B strings. So you're going. And then you kind of play it again. And then back down to this chord, which was in that first chord progression. And then you go. That thing where you move your pointer and ring finger down into this nice chord. And so he just does that once, and you end on this chord, and then he kind of does this thing where he plucks the open E string, and then just plays the whole chord again. So he plays it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he plays that however many times. And then you can kind of end it, whatever. So that's pretty much it. I think it's a cool song. It's kind of jazzy, kind of like Bossa Nova-y. But yeah, I'm gonna try and link the video to the live recording because it's pretty cool. It's a cool rendition of the song. Yeah, I hope there are people out here who even know what I'm talking about. Bye.